Notre Dame coach, Lou Holtz, who was with this candidate very, very early on before it was cool to do so. Lou, very good to have you.
Thank you, Neil. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Same here. What is going on, Lou? You've got a good sense of the pulse of folks, and you were good at that with your gauging your players and their possibilities. Something is going on here that most of the establishment media have not been appreciating, even now don't seem to appreciate, but I'm no rocket scientist, but it is palpable. What do you think's happening?
I think what's really happening is that people are, instead of looking at it from an emotional point of view, everything about Hillary is sexism or racism. Everybody for Donald Trump's supposed to be a divider. But I think when you look at the actual facts, I think that's what's really important. He has a plan. He talks about the things he wants to do. And what really concerns me the most, Neil, is for the first time in my life, you have the IRS is political, the State Department is political, you look at the Department of Justice is political, and the FBI is political. I don't believe this country can continue to survive, and I think people are just tired of the direction the country's going.
You know, you mentioned something interesting referring to the emails, Lou, where he said, how can these be duplicates, the better than 600,000 reportedly discovered, when there were more that are newly discovered than there were in the first place on her server? It was like one of those V8 moments where he's right about that. I didn't think about that. But having said that, do you think that the email thing and the latest FBI probe is what's doing this? Because I was seeing even before this, he was gaining traction, and maybe it was the Obamacare stuff. What is doing it?
I think that predominantly when you look at the entire situation, he has a message. Over 70% of the people in this country, Neil, think it's headed in the wrong direction. You look at where we are today. We have more people unemployed, more people on poverty, less people in the workforce. You look at our educational system, the poor inner city. Oh, the politicians can send their children to a private school, but you can't have a grant or a charter school. No, we can't possibly do that because that would be unfair. You look at the inner city. You look at everything about this country and the direction we're going. And Neil, I'm old enough to remember Watergate. And remember this, 2 district attorney or attorney generals resigned because they would not do something illegal the president wanted them to do. In addition to that, it was a Republican and Democrat that stood up to Nixon and said this is wrong. Today, it's all about politics. When Harry Reid could come on and tell lie after lie without any justification and then eventually say, well, he lost, did he? These are the things that drives people crazy. It's people that really and truly care about this country. Let's give people an opportunity. When he talks about draining the swamp, what we're talking about, let's get this country back to what are our core values. When I was growing up, our core value was honesty. If you gave your word, you didn't need contracts, you didn't need all these fancy things. Somebody gave your word, it's the way it was. An honest day's work for an honest day's wage. That's what he wants to get back to, and I think that that's what really turned it. It's not just about the emails, because personally, I don't have a lot of confidence in that. When you have John Podesta's lawyer, who's basically in charge of this email investigation, and John Podesta sends him an email that says, this guy kept me out of jail, and he's the guy that's going to oversee it all. No, I think it's more about where's this country going? What's her plan? She wants 4 more years of the same thing. Every advertisement I see, they said, now, well, we're going to go into Colorado and Minnesota and give more advertising. And it's just about negative. It's all about against Donald Trump. Over 90% of the not the advertising, but the coverage of Donald Trump since the convention been negative, over 90%. When they talked about Donald Trump, 27 minutes on the major network and less than a minute and a half on Hillary's email scandal. He's right. It's unfair, and I think the people are tired of it. The media is supposed to be the one to look after the government, to make sure that what they're doing is honest and fair, and that's the way it should be. It's the way it was when I was growing up.
Well, you're right. I mean, if you're going to go, going after him, at least be fair and go after her. But Lou Holtz, something is connecting here, and maybe you just hit on it. Lou Holtz, I want to thank you very, very much. Good seeing you.
Thank you for having me, Neil. Always a pleasure.